families are facing a difficult challenge in these modern times because, on the one hand, they want to retain their old school prestige, but on the other hand, they have to appeal to a new generation who is more interested in reality TV stars and Squid Game than they are of royals. And then you also have a new generation of royals themselves who are tiring of the gilded cage that is royal life and don't want to play ball. And while some royal families are adapting relatively well, welcoming outsiders, nationalising royal residences, being more involved in social issues, earning their own wealth, and taking less taxpayer money, just to name a few of the things that some royal families have done, other royal families, like the British royal family, have struggled, mostly due to their arrogance and greed, in my opinion. But it would appear that while drama was brewing with the Windsors, unbeknownst to most of us who are not global royal watchers, another royal family was also having a very similar type of drama. So over in Japan, Princess Mako has officially stepped down from the royal family, not just as a working royal, but as a royal altogether, giving up her royal status. Interesting that in Japan, if a man in the royal family marries a commoner, he doesn't have to give up his title, but if a woman in the royal family marries a commoner, she does. So I'm going to read for you a short report from The Guardian about the matter, and then we're going to discuss it afterwards because it's quite interesting. So according to The Guardian, Japan's Princess Mako has lost her royal status after marrying her commoner college sweetheart Kai Kamuro, a man she described as irreplaceable. After years of criticism of their relationship that has left Mako, who is Emperor Naruhito's niece, struggling with her mental health, the couple announced at a press conference at a hotel in Tokyo yesterday that they had wed. Mako and Komuro, who met at university almost a decade ago, were originally due to marry in 2018, but it was postponed after Japanese media revealed that Komuro's mother was embroiled in a minor financial scandal. The couple, who did not have a formal royal wedding ceremony or hold a reception banquet or any of the traditional rites associated with imperial weddings, said they paid for yesterday's press conference venue themselves amid accusations on social media that they should not waste taxpayers' money. Her father, Crown Prince Akishino, who reportedly opposed a traditional royal wedding after acknowledging that the Japanese public were divided over their marriage in light of reports that Komuro's mother had failed to repay a loan of 4 million yen or 25,000 British pounds, although there have been claims that the money was a gift. Japan's male-only succession laws means Mako, who gained a master's degree from Leicester University, can never be a reigning empress. If she has a son, he will be raised as a non-royal and not ascend to the throne. Her departure from the palace has highlighted the dearth of heirs to the throne, while pressures to reform the succession laws have failed to gain traction under successive conservative governments. Mako turned down a $1.3 million payment from the government to call off the union. Mako's father is the first in line, followed by her younger brother, Prince Hisahito. If the prince does not have a male child, the line of succession will be broken. Now, does that sound like anyone we know in our ends, the Sussex squad? The whole situation has naturally drawn comparisons to Harry and Meghan, and it's easy to see why. It would appear that the Japanese royal family are so stuck in their ways that they are risking their entire dynasty going down the drain because they will not change laws to allow women to ascend to the throne. When you take all of the rest of what I just read out there into consideration, you can see some very obvious similarities with what happened with Harry and Meghan. There's a lot to unpack here, so I'm going to take it one bit at a time. First of all, can we talk about how the government tried to pay this woman? This is the most insane thing I've ever heard. Was that taxpayer money? Presumably some people who are very pro-royal in Japan might be fine with that, but I would be pretty pissed if, say, I wasn't a royalist and I heard that they were trying to pay a princess to stay. Surely Japan has other things that they could use that money for. Surely that money should have come out of the family's personal wealth. Then there's the issue of the princess losing her titles. Well, Harry lost his military titles and some of his patronages, as did Meghan, and neither of them can use their titles HRH, His or Her Royal Highness. Now, as far as I'm concerned, and I stand by this, titles are useless trinkets that these institutions give to themselves to feel important. In my eyes, they mean nothing, and the only reason it bothered me when they tried to deny Meghan of her Royal Highness status was because she's the only person of colour in the family, and they were trying to strip them of royal protections. But outside of that, I don't really care about the titles. I actually think that these royal institutions are proving that to give up your titles is to find freedom. Harry is a soldier at heart. Everyone knows he served on the front line. He doesn't need those titles to prove it. And those patronages are the ones who have lost because of the Queen's and her advisors' actions. We all know that charities Harry and Meghan support do very well financially. So Harry and Meghan haven't really lost anything in that part. They're able to work with charities in a private capacity and donate their own private money and encourage their fans to donate also, as we do. That's not British taxpayer money being spent. So we can see some parallels there between the Japanese prince and Harry and Meghan in terms of losing titles. The firm trying to take away Harry in particular's titles was being used as, I think, a form of emotional blackmail, and it just didn't work because really, you're going to take away my titles? Well, 100 million with Netflix and supposedly 30 million with Spotify and the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want. I think I'll take the deals and leave your titles. Thank you very much. The next place that we can draw some parallels between the two couples is the princess's mental health. We know that Meghan suffered from suicidal ideations due to the bullying from the British press and public, and it would appear that Princess Mako also suffered bullying for her choices as well. Now, Japan has one of the highest suicide rates in the developed world, and while many of those suicides relate to work culture and affect mostly men because of societal expectations, generally speaking, mental health is still a lot more stigmatized than I think what we're used to here in Britain and America, where the conversation about mental health is now a lot more commonplace due to heavy campaigning on the topic. So maybe now that Princess Mako has gone, much like in the case of Harry and Meghan, this can spark a more positive and a more progressive conversation about mental health. Maybe that's one positive thing that can come out of this whole situation of her stepping down. And then next, there are the ill feelings towards Mako's mother. We saw how Doria was looked down upon. Now, obviously, in her case, we had a mixture of race and class at play. We saw how Doria was looked down upon and the way they tried to stereotype her as hood and ghetto. I think perhaps in Princess Mako's mother-in-law's case, it was more just a matter of class. But it's just this whole idea of looking down upon someone because they don't meet your superficial standards. And yes, Mako's mother-in-law may have owed somebody money, but from what I have read, it doesn't seem like anything majorly criminal, and it just seems very over the top to judge someone so harshly for what seems like a very private matter. Now, I don't know what percentage of Japanese people feel like this. If you are from Japan, please feel free to comment below. But I have to say, I am quite shocked because I didn't think that the Japanese took their royals so seriously. So this is news to me, and it gives me a third-person perspective that I don't get as a Brit when I look at our royal family. And now I look at this situation with Princess Mako and I'm looking at them, I think, the way a lot of non-British people look at us and the Windsors. There was one commentator on Twitter that said, The concept of royalty has convinced far too many that another human being can contaminate an outdated hierarchical system. The common man on the streets thinks a lawyer is not good enough for a royal when the institution thinks even less of you. Say it louder for the peasants in the back. I just do not understand these people who think like this. By saying that this man isn't good enough to be in the royal family, you are literally degrading yourself, because you're saying that these people who are simply born into wealth and privilege are somehow better than you. I respect Harry and Meghan because through their work and impacts they have earned it by helping others. My respect does not come from the fact that Harry was born a royal, it's because he used his royal status for good. And Meghan has always been an activist, and that's what I respect about her. That along with her hard work and entrepreneurship. But back to Princess Mako, to me it just sounds like she's gaining from leaving, because given the rules of the line of succession, she can never truly rule anyway, and she probably doesn't want to. She's highly educated and could easily get work in her field, entice wealthy investors for business projects, and now commands media attention. I looked at the comments on social media and almost every single person was positive and in support of her, and now she has a global audience looking to see what she does. She has gained more recognition globally in the last 72 hours than the entire Japanese royal family has, and again, we see someone who could have really put their royal family on the world map being kicked out of their firm. Mako and her husband could have been global ambassadors for their firm and for Japan. There's so much about Japanese culture that I think so many of us love and adore anyway, and this could have just added to it, because I honestly don't know anything about their royals. But now I'm so interested to learn more about Mako. And it's exactly the same case with Harry and Meghan. The British monarchy was so stuck in their old traditions, their racism and their jealousy, that they missed a golden opportunity to keep their institution alive for another few generations at least. What's even more interesting is that, like Harry and Meghan also, Japan's former princess and her non-royal husband are moving to the States. The land of the free, it seems, is becoming a safe haven for royals who've had enough of their royal life. Princess Madeleine of Sweden also opted to live in the US after she married a commoner, although her family was a lot more welcoming. And it's well known that Diana also wanted to move to the States after her divorce from Charles. These royal families are going to have to come to a place where they accept that their way of life does not fit in with modernity, neither with how their taxpayers see them or how the younger royals who are coming up within their institutions want to now live. If they had any sense, in my opinion, they would just drop all the titles and just be rich, snotty aristos, and enjoy their estates and enjoy their wealth without all of the nonsense that comes with being a royal. But I think the law of power and status is just too much for many of them, and they allow it to trap them. I will definitely be following up on this story. I wish Mako and her husband all the best. I really hope that he is a stellar guy and that they're happy together. There seems to be a lot of interest in this story, so I don't know, maybe another book for Omid, an Oprah interview, a Lifetime movie. Who knows, but I would love to hear your opinion on this. Do you think the Japanese princess made the right choice? Do you think that we're going to see this more and more from different royal families around the world? That's all for today's video. Thank you as always for listening. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Sayonara!